Time now for first impressions. A couple of teams going for it at the deadline, making some moves, and got to see a few of those debuts and how these teams look over the weekend in a game or two. So let's start with the Carolina Hurricanes, maybe making the biggest splash, getting Jake Guentzel. We know he's still injured, getting close. Evgeny Kuznetsov, we were on the deadline together. When that happened, you were kind of like, I don't quite know how this is going to play out. You got to see one game. What are your impressions?
I actually got to see two. I think for a guy that had not played in 5-6 weeks, that was in the Players Assistance Program, I thought he looked terrific. I mean, they're starting him out kind of slow. They had him on like a fourth line. He was out there with Kotkaniemi, and Kotkaniemi ended up getting, I believe this is it here, although they cut it short. He ended up getting a goal from a bad angle in the game on Saturday against the Devils. But I thought he played pretty well, Reader. And to me, that's him being just, I mean, it doesn't have to be 2018.
Yep.
He's not going to be 2018 Kuznetsov. But if he's in the ballpark of that, they needed a second center. He could come in and fill that role. Then Guentzel comes in. I like what they did. They took a little risk, but I think it was well worth it.
I agree with you, and I was questioning the move as well. But then after you watch him play, and I watched both games, he missed a backdoor. It was a rocket of a pass.
Yeah.
I think it was against the Devils, a rocket of a pass that he wouldn't miss when he's on his game.
Yeah.
It's going to take him a little while to get up to speed. He even admitted that. But his playmaking and his ability to handle the puck are still there. He seemed to be enjoying himself post-game interviews.
Yep.
He seemed to have a really good attitude, real positive. You know, any comments were about hockey's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And if he's having fun, he's going to be a heck of a player. He'd be a pretty good number 2C.
Yeah, not bad. How about the top team in the NHL right now? The Florida Panthers bringing in Vladimir Tarasenko as well as Kyle Okposo. We haven't seen Okposo play yet, but your thoughts on Vladimir Tarasenko?
Second game, he got a couple goals. The one, the celebration after he scored his first goal was a terrible giveaway down low in the corner, but he picks it up in the slot, boom, he scores. And then his celebration, the fact that his wife and his children are there and his family's there to see them play, and he said they haven't seen me play in a while live, and so I think that's going to be a really good fit. It's a really good team. Tarasenko is another layer of scoring. He doesn't need to be the top guy. He's a layer of scoring in Florida that you cannot have enough of. And like I said, the 2 goals in the one game. The celebration told me a lot that, yes, like the excitement to be back playing and be playing meaningful games. Ottawa, he had a good season in Ottawa, but they weren't meaningful games. The team was out of it early, and they were struggling. And he's now on one of the best teams in the National Hockey League, arguably the best team in the East.
I would agree with you, and I think, again, in both cases, right, Tarasenko and in Kuznetsov, they're both thrilled to be where they are, and you can look at the line. I mean, they're already loaded with the Florida Panthers, but you can see now they're able to move Cousins down. They've moved Tarasenko in with Barkov and Reinhart. They've moved Verhaeghe in with Bennett and Tkachuk. It just gives them, you know, you can see Okposo slots in there on the third line. Cousins gets moved down. It just gives them more flexibility. It gives Paul Maurice a lot different options moving forward. And then there's always the worry about getting guys dinged up. So I think it was a great move. I think he'll be a great fit because he really wants to be there.
Yes.
To your point, Reader, that showed in him celebrating that first goal.
Yeah, that Tarasenko line in the 2 games, outscoring or scoring chances 14-5, that line in those 2 games. So pretty good first impression there. We should note that Aaron Ekblad injury is going to be out a week or 2, I think is what they were saying. So let's stay in the Sunshine State, go across the state to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Didn't have a whole lot of, exactly, the Duke, big behind you. Graphics department really excited apparently about Anthony Duclair. They also get Matt Dumba on the back end. What were your impressions of what we saw from those guys?
Anthony Duclair got a goal, and he had an opportunity, like he was in on a lot of plays around the net. It looked really good. That whole Tampa Bay Lightning team really looked pumped. They had a lot of jump. They were pretty excited about it. And here's his goal. But he was in and around the net. He was in the screen on another opportunity. I thought it might have actually deflected off. I thought he might have had 2. But for me, Anthony Duclair's got great speed, and he can still score some goals. And he's on a team that wants to play that get up and go. And Matt Dumba gets us in a scrap in the game. So he gets involved, letting his teammates know, hey, guys, I'm here to play. I think both players are excellent acquisitions. You know, with losing Sergachev, bringing in Matt Dumba, he can play the minutes. He's still got a lot of game in his game. I'm a big Matt Dumba fan. I think it's going to be a really good fit. I think he's going to be re-energize his game. I think we're going to see, maybe here's the fight I'm talking about against Couturier. And I think we're going to see maybe a little more jump in Matt Dumba's step than we've seen in the past. But I thought great first impressions for me on both players.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love Duclair. Duclair, like both these guys, again, it goes back. We know what they do, right? Duclair can fly. He can flat out fly. He pushes the defense back. When he's on the ice, you take fewer chances. So he gains geography for you with his ability to take off up the ice and push the defense back. Matt Dumba, you said it. He's got some jam to his game. He's a right shot guy. They're desperate for help on the blue line, certainly with experienced guys. Both those guys got to be thrilled to be there. I think there was good moves. And also, you got to remember with the Tampa Bay Lightning, there was some talk to get in on Noah Hanifin. Hanifin apparently wanted to go there. They don't have a lot to offer. And that's why they couldn't end up getting some bigger fish there. They don't have draft picks. They don't have prospects they want to trade. But for what they had, they were able to get two players, to your point, Dave, that I think will really help their team down the stretch.
You mentioned Noah Hanifin, and if you're a player and you're not going to Tampa, it feels like everybody else is going to Vegas, right? The Vegas Golden Knights, Noah Hanifin. We've seen him in a couple of games already. Maybe the biggest splash of the deadline or the biggest surprise, or even both, Tomas Hertl. They acquired him. You can see some of the deals that they did, as well as getting Anthony Mantha. Wow. Do you have an impression of this team yet, or do we have to wait until playoff time and this team is fully assembled, fully healthy, with Mark Stone returning, Hertl in the lineup for the first time?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to wait because these guys are like Stone. We don't know what his situation is with that spleen situation, so we don't even know if and when he can come back. They're hoping he can come back, but we're not sure. Hertl's been hurt, so they're saying he can come back and maybe play late in the regular season, but he's going to have to adjust to being around new teammates, now albeit really good ones. So that's helpful for you. But I think we're going to have to wait and see how everybody fits. And remember, these are all human beings. You got Stevenson, you got Marchessault. Those are really important members of this Vegas Golden Knights team. They're at the end of their contracts. They see these guys coming in. What's going through their minds right now? So you never know. On paper, even before these moves, when they're healthy, I love the defending champs. Now they've added even more pieces to the puzzle. I mean, they could be a nightmare to deal with if they're all healthy. But, Reader,
yes,
you know, again, I lean on your experience. Sometimes it's not always having all these good players. It's having all the right players in the right spots, which they had last year.
Yeah, there's only one puck, and if a bunch of guys want that one puck, it doesn't go over that well. I'm not saying that that's going to happen here, but sometimes when you add too many pieces to the puzzle and try to build the super team, the super team doesn't always work that well. I really think they need Mark Stone back. He's the leader of this team. He's the captain of this team. And he is such a bigger part than just what he brings on the ice. Yes, he's great on the ice, but he's the emotional leader with this team. So I love what this team has done. I think Noah Hanifin was a great fit on any team. He's a beautiful skater, moves the puck extremely well. Great offensive mind, uses his stick extremely well in the defensive positioning of the game. Very good veteran defenseman. This is a deep defense that they've already in Vegas. You can never have enough defensemen going into the playoffs, especially defensemen who would be a number 1, 2 on many teams. So I really like that. Up front, they've got a lot of moving parts there, but they need Mark Stone up front to, in my mind, to get to the next level, and that's to win it again.